I'm Cecilia Harry. I am Chief Economic Development Officer here at the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC. And I want to thank you for spending time with us today. Our topic today is maintaining and attracting customers. The plan is to be here until 2:30 p.m. today. And like most of our sessions, this is an interactive one. And so we really want you to ask questions. You can use the chat feature at any time, either addressed to the entire group, everyone, or to Emma Mitchell on our team. And the questions will be asked in the order that they are received toward the end of the session. We're also recording this presentation, and it will be available to the public to view by next week. We also do a raffle drawing during these sessions, and it's easiest for us to pick the winner when you rename yourself with your name and company name inside the Zoom program. So please take a moment to do that. And again, it helps us help you win. So please take a moment. Before we jump into introducing more of the program, I wanted to take a second to just talk about two things that we have going on in the community. One is a new research tool that we are making available to the greater community here in the coming weeks. It's called Size Up, and it is a business intelligence tool to help entrepreneurs, small businesses, and businesses that help entrepreneurs and small businesses gather really good market intelligence so that better decisions can be made with stronger data. This is going to be a tool available to anybody in the community, and it takes a lot of different data points from a lot of different sources and puts them into one easy to use interface so that people and companies are able to get really good data that typically would cost a lot of money to access and a lot of time to analyze. So we're really excited to get this tool in the hands of our small business community here in the coming days. We're going to have two public demonstrations of the tool done in a virtual setting. One will be September 1st at 2 p.m. and the other one will be September 3rd at 10 a.m. So head on over to our events page and take a look there for registration if you're interested. And then also wanted to promote the El Paso County Regional Business Relief Fund. This was recently launched through CARES funding and El Paso County, and grant assistance of up to $20,000 is available for businesses and nonprofits that have been affected by COVID-19. I'm going to put a link in the chat if you want to know more information, whether you're interested or perhaps a business client of yours might be interested. They're anxious to see lots of applications come in so we can put dollars into the hands of businesses in the community here in the short term. All right, and so now going back to today's sponsor, it is BBSI, a local high-touch professional employer organization advocating on behalf of business owners. The Colorado Springs team of subject matter experts provide consulting services to help navigate and propel small and medium-sized businesses through challenges in the areas of workers' compensation, risk management, human resources, payroll, talent acquisition, and business consulting to ensure compliance and mitigate risk and to help companies scale for growth. You can reach out to Ken Davis at ken.davis@mybbsi.com for a zero pressure discussion on how they can assist you with your company needs. And then one plug for our upcoming Chamber Connect on Thursday, September 10th about U.S. Space Command and why Colorado Springs. And now it's time to bring on our main event, today's presentation on maintaining and attracting customers. I'm going to hand it over to Rodney Gillette Jr. to introduce the panelists. At least I think it's Rodney Gillette. Rodney, are you there?
Yes, I am. I am. How's everybody doing? It's good to see all of you. Bright, shiny faces today. It's beautiful Thursday. Welcome to the Colorado Springs Chamber EDC Virtual 2020 Chamber Connect. Our topic today, maintaining and attracting customers during the pandemic. My name is Rodney Gillette. I am a certified ethical hacker. I own Firma IT Solutions. I'm an Air Force vet, and I'm a proud member of the Colorado Springs Chamber EDC. But enough about me. Let's talk about our awesome panelists, these amazing professionals in Olympic City, USA. We'll start with Michelle. Tell us who you are and what you do, Michelle.
Okay, my name is Michelle Tellerico, and I am a very proud co-owner of Picnic Basket, Buffalo Gals, and Cravings Catering. We are one of the old dogs in town. We've been around for about 32 years. Yes, you heard that correctly. And I am also a proud board member of many organizations across the Pikes Peak region, and extremely happy to be a part of this panel. Thank you so much, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Michelle. Nohemy, tell the people who you are and what you do.
Hi everyone, my name is Nohemy Montes, and I have been a business owner since my early 20s. So I'm definitely one of those that have so many questions on what's going on. For the last 15 years, I have been a wealth manager. And for the last 8 years, I have been the president and senior wealth manager of Mont Wealth Financial Advisors. So we, like Michelle said, we belong to organizations because we want to give to the community. Some of the organizations that I belong to is El Paso Bar Association, the Certified Financial Planners Association, Chamber of Commerce, and we're here to help on anything that we can possibly give our input in.
Awesome. Thank you for being here today, Nohemy. Good to see you. Nick, please tell the people who you are and what you do. Take yourself off mute, my friend.
How's that?
There you go. Please proceed.
All right. Hey, thanks, Rodney, and thanks to the Chamber. We're proud members as well. The Colorado Springs Switchbacks, I'm the president and co-founder. See myself for our company as a table setter, putting ourselves in the position to be successful long-term. And I come to you from our locker room, our referees locker room, because I had to talk to the team that's training this morning. So a little different perspective, a little different location for me, but Nick Reagan, Switchbacks.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Nick. Mr. Adam Morley, what's up, my friend? Please tell the people who you are and what you do, sir.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Adam Morley. I am, of course, a very proud Chamber member, but I am the co-founder of Wolf & Key Marketing, located near the old Gazette building. So that's my day job. I also call myself a community advocate and a community builder. I have some experience doing shared workspaces, everything from a space for creatives to a space for vintage motorcycle lovers to a space currently for people in marketing and advertising spaces. So I do marketing and I'm passionate about building communities.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you all the panelists for being here. So as you all can see, we have a wealth of knowledge and brilliance on this panel today. So let's get started on this very first question. So I am the owner and I need to lead the sales effort, but I have almost no time to do it. How can I make the best use of my time to sell? Michelle, go for it.
So I am the owner of my company. I'm also the director of sales, which is both really stressful and really hard, especially during these times. I've been trying to keep the team up and been trying to keep events coming down the pipeline. I would suggest what I've done from day one is reach out to all the people that I know, reach out to my contacts. I have to give huge shout outs to this city, to this chamber, to Doug with Visit Colorado Springs, with so many of the people that I get to know and work with and network with. Everybody has been there for our company. I literally, in the pandemic, I started something where 3 times a day I would reach out to somebody via text, an old client or a current client. 3 times a day I would send a thank you card or a hi, how are you card. And 3 times a day I would call somebody. And that was my way of connecting with old and new clients and just really checking on people. And it came from a place of just wanting to understand where everybody was. And that has been huge for us because the community has supported us big time.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Nohemy, do you have an answer for this question for us?
Thank you, Rodney. Some of you that know me know that I'm a nerd. So of course I'm going to go on a step by step, but I think the main thing that I could share with you is regroup. Make the time to regroup and really find the new clarity. What is going on? It's difficult, and we shouldn't feel like we have to know exactly how to act and how to be proactive. Most of us are reactive. So I think that regrouping and finding the clarity, have that culture of your business, whether you have a business of 3 people, 15 people, 50 people. Have the culture so clear that you can transfer that to your employees. As we business owners are trying to find a place in a time to do sales, whether I'm a service provider, but of course I sell my knowledge and my processes. So we as salespeople, we need to have our team on board. So transfer that culture, make the time for yourself to have the clarity, transfer it to your employees. We're stressed out as business owners, but our employees are also stressed out with other matters. So let them know that we're here, that we have a plan, that we have a strategy, that we have a process to succeed, because their jobs depend on us. So together, we're going to have a more relaxed team that is going to help us, the business owner, to drive the sales or the client base in the organization. Another thing that is really important is have the process very clear. Transfer it to the employees. If we in our own mind change something along the way to stay current with what's happening in the world, make sure that we have it in writing. Make sure that our employees know it. Make sure that they know we know what we're doing, because if we don't, then they're going to be very worried and scatter more than what we need them. And then the last thing is, making a sale. Like in my situation, I'm service oriented. So we are fee for service and process oriented. So if I have a new client or a new prospective client, my time with the client is going to be a certain amount of hours, but my team needs to spend a certain amount of hours to make sure that we go from acquiring the new client, the onboarding, processing, the satisfaction of the client. Only at that point we can ask for a referral. So we have to not only free up time for us for sales, but make sure the pipeline of the process is as well clear. The last thing that I will say is, as far as our current clients, let them know that you're here. Like Michelle spelled it out perfect. I'm just going to echo everything she said. Stay top of your client's mind, not just because you need the business, but because they need us the most now. And as they are talking to other people about their own struggles, they're going to have you in mind. And they're going to say, oh, I got this information from Michelle or from Nohemy. Or, if it wasn't because Michelle reached out to me, I would have not known this. So stay on top of every single, whether you do a card, email, Facebook, anything, even just find them somewhere. They go to the same grocery stores that you go, send them a little gift, anything, but keep your clients informed that you are thriving, that they need you, and therefore they will be there for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Excellent, excellent, excellent answer. So next question. So there are businesses in here that are built on referrals and have never or rarely advertised. So with COVID-19, getting those referrals have been hard to do. So how can somebody with a business increase their number of referrals during this COVID-19 season? Nick, switchbacks. This one's yours, sir.
Thanks, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think in my response to this question, I think number one is looking at your product or service and justifying its relevancy and timing. Certainly when you're reaching out with certain product offerings in the context of where we live and work, timing is important. And so establishing the why as to why we're reaching out. Recently, I've been using more of LinkedIn, honestly, to really, if I'm looking at developing a relationship, and I'll give an example, I'm touring 5 Walmart managers through our stadium development this afternoon, and we began working with a relevant company, Icon Sports, and Icon is a significant vendor for Walmart. So when I reach out to Walmart managers by phone, I have a vendor that is, I guess, somewhat of an endorsement as far as what we're doing. So I have an endorsement element. I have a relevancy because we're building a stadium and we're looking to just build the brand of the Colorado Springs Switchbacks in downtown. So I'm relevant. I have a timed event. Building a stadium, there's not going to be a lot of opportunities to tour a new and developing stadium. And then, my specific goal is to have, products sold in Walmarts, which is important to us. So I think, relevance, timing, efficiency, your use of tools like LinkedIn, but not being afraid to pick up a phone, and then create an opportunity to, that's a platform for developing a relationship. And that's if your business is built on referrals. So that's more of a B2B approach. Obviously, there's a different approach with B2C, but perhaps Adam will touch on that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. So Adam, you're up next to answer this fine question.
What's up, you guys? So, you know what? Everybody's kind of talked about the use of social media and the use of reaching out and being intentional. But really, what I would tack onto that is taking that a step further. Referrals, of course, are an inherently personal interaction and like transaction. Transaction is the wrong word, but referrals are inherently personal, right? When someone knows you and trusts you, that's when you get the referral. And a way you can take that trust even to another level is asking them, hey, what's a good referral for you? This isn't just about building that relationship. It's also, yes, I mean, what Nohemy said and what Nicholas said and all that are true about using LinkedIn, and I do the same stuff. I want to build the relationship even outside of business conversations on social media as much as I can, but I try to take it at least for a few minutes of every time I have a conversation. I say, hey, by the way, we talked about you wanting this type of referral. Is that still the case? What's the best kind of customer that I can send your way as I'm out there trucking away at that relationship, right? So I think trying to be as giving as possible when you're thinking about getting referrals is think about sending referrals just as much as you think about receiving them.
That's the secret right there. Hashtag givers gain. Write it down. Law of reciprocity. Write it down. You just heard it from them. They're trying to tell you something. Question number 3. So how can I sell virtually when prospects do not want to meet face-to-face? Nick, this one's yours, sir.
I ended up being listed first here a couple of times, so Rodney, you can mix it up. Feel free to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, so sell virtually. Again, when we're honest about our product, our service, and our offering, is number one is make sure we're relevant. And then a big thing for us is simplicity, especially when we're virtual, if we're digital. Our product, and especially if it's a new client or new to us, that endorsement coming from the perhaps referral, endorsement coming from the product that we're using. The endorsement is a big piece. I say endorsement a lot because it's something that I've experienced and kind of walked through a lot in the last few years. For my company, we're building not only a franchise, sport, but we're also building a sport. And in order to do that, we have to impact how people think about it, how to make some market separation between youth soccer and professional soccer. And whereas professional soccer is the most popular sport throughout the world, in the United States, it tends to be associated with youth soccer. So having the right endorsements associated with our product and what we want to convey is important when we go and sell to prospects virtually, because whether it's an endorsement by an associated brand with the kind of image that we want to be associated with. So those endorsements to me tend to always pop up in those discussions. So again, endorsement, simplicity, timing, and that's it.
Outstanding. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. I'll mix it up next time. You'll go first next time. Nohemy, please, could you give us some insight on the answer to this question?
Absolutely, thank you. And Nick, it looks like if you and I had talked about this prior, but you're talking about endorsements, and for all of those businesses that are able to get endorsements, that's Fantastic. I'm going to talk about the people that aren't able to get endorsements and how we can also thrive on this point, because as a service provided, my organization is not allowed by FINRA and SEC regulations to be endorsed. All of my social media platforms have to be shut off for endorsements. So here's what I do. I think that we need to do a little bit of investing on educating our audience. We have to build educational programs, call it videos, white papers, whatever we need to either build it ourselves or contract a company that is all compliance friendly. We need to narrow down that audience that we want to reach and let them decide, educate them on why do they need our services. Now, many of them will not need our services, which is great. We don't need those clients either. But for those people that we help them through education, even though it's an investment on our end, it's free for them. But if we educate them to understand why they need our services, then we're going to have the people that we want to work with. There's something that is really important when we work with social media, and coming from the person that was so reluctant to it, I did not have my first website until 2015. My business has been referral based all this time. And to me, getting into social media, I kept thinking that is for teenagers. I cannot do that. I don't have the time to do that. But you realize that your clients rely on you, and most times, or more times that we really want to think, most of the time they're going to Google us and they're going to go to your Facebook page and they're going to do this. And what I find out is that when I put out really good content, something that is timely, we're going to have people reaching out. And a lot of the times from social media, we only get questions that we get to answer as a pro bono, which is still okay, but our name is there as we help the community. The second thing that I will say to that is, once we have a person interested on our services or product because they decided that they need us, not because we told them they need us, but they decided through the content we put out, then we have to make it super easy for them to reach us. An example is, if you have from your Facebook page or LinkedIn or whichever platform you use, if you have that person reaching out to you via email, it's a good idea to have on your out of office or auto reply saying, thank you for reaching out. We will answer all your questions within an hour or 2 hours, and have that alarm in the time blocked on your calendar to review every single one of those people that reach out to you and truly answer their questions, or designate someone that will do that effectively, because all the effort of setting up the platforms doesn't get us anywhere if we don't actually get to show that participant that wanted to reach out to us that we can help them, or that we cannot help them, which is also okay. And I think that goes for Facebook, for LinkedIn. I don't know much about Instagram, but I think positive notes on Instagram. So I think that the purpose of the social media is stay in front of people, let them know you are in business, let them know you're here to help, and that we are resourceful. We might not know it all, but we're really well connected.
Outstanding answer. Yes, social media is definitely important, and people are attracted to good content. There's people attracted to buffoonery too, but you don't have to get involved in that stuff on social media. Just block it. So easy to block and unfriend. It's not a real relationship. Just block it. Take that with you too. So question number 4. What are the most effective tools for local online branding and advertising? We'll start with Michelle on this one.
And I apologize if something is ringing in a second. I have to be really honest about this, because about 2-3 weeks into the pandemic, I got to attend, I've never even told Adam this, a Survive and Thrive session where my friend, who I don't even know if I've ever met personally other than on Zoom, gave an amazing presentation about online presence and some really tangible steps on what people could do. I think it is so important. Quickly, my business is, we don't just produce food, we produce events. So when the pandemic hit, we are nothing if we can't do events. So we had to reinvent ourselves, which sounds crazy for a 31-year-old company. We've already reinvented ourselves about 4 or 5 times, but we had to do it again. And I really look to the resources of my community. And I have to say thank you to Adam, because just some very successful, succinct ideas on making sure, to your point about social media, I also didn't believe necessarily 15 years ago that social media would be as big of a thing as it is, but we empowered people on our team and we listened to experts like Adam to really give some serious time to investing. And I'm not talking about dollars, I'm talking about time, in committing to having a constant presence online. And in the first 3 months of the pandemic, we had so much activity on all of our social media channels and via our website. At the same time, I will add, my friend, if I had been working with you, Rodney, this wouldn't have probably happened. We got all 3 of our websites hacked on the day after. First, our executive chef quit. Then we lost $800,000 of business. Same exact day, we got all websites hacked. Not saying any of them are connected, but you can imagine what that did to our business. So we really needed to reinvent ourselves. And I don't know that we'd have a presence if it wasn't for online platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing about entrepreneurship. You know, we got COVID and you had all those things happen the same day, but you still survived, right? We still have to figure it out. We have to figure it out fast in order to make it work. So, you know, that's why we're having these type of meetings right now. So thank you for that knowledge, Michelle. Adam, what's your take on this question?
So she said everything as well, and she said it very well, and thank you for those compliments, Michelle. I appreciate that. So, I mean, the simplest way to think about it, you guys, is there is nobody who's not online, and that was true before COVID. But it's 10 times as true during COVID, is that there's nobody who isn't online in some capacity. Maybe you don't really need a Twitter presence, but you definitely need a LinkedIn presence, maybe vice versa. Whatever it is, there's probably nobody on this call who can say that they aren't online at some point during their day, every day, whether they're working or not, right? So to get a little bit more specific on this, I've harped on video a whole lot in the past. I think, Michelle, that presentation that I did, I talked a little bit about video. Since then, just to kind of put it in perspective, when we run social media campaigns, we measure what it costs for people to watch a certain amount of a video when we do big, aggressive video campaigns. And a typical benchmark, if you don't know, on Facebook, for example, is they will charge you when someone watches 15 seconds of a video, right? They choose 15 seconds because that's about how long it takes for someone to, you know, to guess that they probably will remember watching that video. So before, that's just one of the metrics that we measure. So before COVID, a 15-second view costs around 12 to 13 cents was a good cost. During COVID, almost all my clients are seeing video views costing 2 to 3 cents each. So the cost of running a video has gone down dramatically during COVID, which is why I say, please focus on video and how to tell the story you want to tell with video. Not only is it cheap to run, but it probably, I always say, it's the most effective way to tell your story. I think if you combine sound and image, right, you're as close as you're going to get without being in person if you're trying to tell your story. So video is a big thing. The other thing I'll touch on real quick is the importance of email. A lot of people, depending on what you're selling, a lot of people don't have a lot of time. I'm not on LinkedIn all the time. I'm a business owner and super busy. A lot of people don't have time to be on social media, but one place that a lot of people go is their email every day. And if you consistently grow your list of people that are interested in what you do, and I don't mean buying email lists and doing spammy emails, to clarify. If you work on growing slowly but surely your email list, and you start to get a list of interested people, that list can be used in so many ways. You can target them on other platforms just by uploading your list. You can target people that look like that list on other platforms just by uploading your email list. So email and video are two really important tools that I always try to harp on, even more so during COVID.
That's an awesome advice there, Adam. Appreciate that, man. Nick, you're last on this one. So what is your answer to this question, sir?
Well, Michelle and Adam did a great job talking about, I think, both really content that you generate and then paid advertising. A little history with me is I spent, a number of years before we founded the Switchbacks in digital marketing. And so I would work with small businesses of all different sorts and developing campaigns and having important content and interesting content was a huge challenge for a plumbing company, for you name it. Having things and information that people really care to read and it's going to separate you, it's pretty difficult. It's actually one of the main reasons I was really interested in joining and starting a sports team, because understanding and knowing how important content is, and Adam referenced video content, interesting, engaging content. Sports is definitely unique in its ability to deliver interesting content. So yeah, I guess ultimately keeping it very simple, having a great simple digital experience that converts from your content to your action that you're driving at, would be my additional comment. Simplicity and great content.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Next question. What are some unique tactics that you have taken to retain and acquire customers? This is going to be really, really yummy. So, Adam, after you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you. So, one of my favorite things that we've ever done to try to kind of stand out, some of you may have seen a video series that Wolf and Key did for a while called Key Exchanges. And basically we went around with different business owners. I wanted to focus locally. I've always wanted to focus and work locally with local clients, right? So we went around Colorado Springs and we just basically had coffee conversations or whiskey conversations, whatever the case may be, with local business owners. We talked about their story. We talked about why they started doing what they're doing now and some of the hardships along the way and how they overcame them. I mean, tons of great conversations that we had with people from many different industries. But one thing we did at the beginning that might be a concept for a lot of you to think about is we couldn't afford to do a quality production of these conversations at the beginning. So we did a trade for services a lot of times. We did marketing for the production company who made the videos for us. So I just wanted us to stand out in that way by not just doing another pitch for, hiring us to do services. I don't like that angle at all. It's really silly to me and I didn't like it. So I wanted to start conversations and then see what organically grew from there. But if you can figure out a way to stand out sort of like that, I had a blast doing it, and it started some conversations that led to new clients, and it was fun during the whole process. So that's a way that I tried to help us stand out a little bit.
Outstanding. Thank you for that, Adam. Michelle, after you.
Thanks, Adam. I think that's a great idea, and I think that's kind of what we intrinsically do all the time, really, without knowing it. We don't go around and certainly take people's stories. We don't have that skill, but I think probably one of my best assets is that I'm a good listener. And I think that the people that work with me are good listeners. It's a core value that we really incorporate every day. We live it. And we really listen to people. We made it all about all of our vendors and all of our venues. And this has always been what we do, but we especially did this at the start of the pandemic. we just felt like it was really important to start with shining some light on people that have helped us and talking about them. And that reopened so many doors as things started opening for us. And I have said to my staff for years, you're working too hard if you're thinking of what you're going to answer with. Listen to what your client is saying. Listen to what the person in front of you is saying. And so I try to be very intentional, and I try to lead that way. I try to give that way. And that has been really, really helpful, I believe, to my company.
Yep, listening is important. 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? Listen twice as much as you talk, and you'll get all the information you need. People can't wait to tell you things. Nick, would you like to take a shot at this question, sir? Take yourself off mute.
Is that number 5?
Number 6.
That question?
What are
That's
some
number
unique
6.
tactics
Okay.
you take to retain and acquire
To
customers?
retain customers. It was interesting conversation because what I'm dealing with as far as retaining customers. I don't know how many of you deal with things like this, but not only does the sports industry have to deal with COVID, and everybody have to deal with COVID, but we're also heavily dealing with the racial injustice and how we can have a position and at the same time not, I guess, mix messages and undercut things like the national anthem and people that support it. The reason I was having a conversation out here with our team today is because, and actually Michelle was just mentioning it with number 5, listening to your customers as far as retaining is really important, and having empathy. We're a very, this community, obviously with 5 military bases, very patriotic, very deep roots in what the national anthem means and what it stands for. And yet at the same time, we have a very real, racial injustice situation that, our team that, doesn't have much of a platform, but it has, I shouldn't say that. They definitely have a platform. And like many other teams in sports are exploring how to use that platform. And that was our dialogue today was, here's some of our customers' response. Here's our front office response. Let's have a dialogue with the team and get your response. And hopefully by listening, having empathy for others and having dialogue, we're actually, one of the things that we're going to be doing is having a forum of sorts with our season ticket members just on the issue, because the certain things that our team and our players are desiring to communicate are being misinterpreted as something else. And so just that process of listening, communicating, dialoguing, we could certainly as an organization come down with a very specific response that all of our staff has to abide by, but it is a very sensitive issue and a very sensitive topic, and we need to be very thoughtful about and respectful about how we address it and how we address our staff and how we address people that are not our staff. So retaining customers is a big one that we're dealing with and having conversations with today. Hopefully that applies to other people as well, but listening, empathy, dialogue.
I appreciate social justice, equity, and equality being part of your strategy. Personally, I'm thanking you for that. It's good. Appreciate that. Nohemy, would you like to take a shot at this question?
Absolutely. So retaining customers and acquiring new customers. Guys, thank you so much. I'm learning so much from all of you. The culture in our organization definitely is results oriented, results driven. So for us, pandemic or no pandemic, we had no choice, but the promises that we said at the beginning of the relationship with our clients, we have to deliver. So some of the tactics that I have been using are very much intentional. So I'm using what I call it kind of like the setting up my clientele base by situational priority. In my firm, we do service. When we build a financial plan, we have everything laid out step by step for the upcoming years, and we expect results, and we have benchmarks to meet. So what I did as a tactics, and hopefully for a lot of you service-oriented companies or business, this is helpful. So what we do is we manage wealth, we take care of our clients' estate planning, and we do this in a tax-efficient manner. So situationally, we started reaching out from the beginning of this pandemic to all of our clients that were on the distribution phase of their assets, because it was a down market. Nobody can say that it wasn't, and nobody can say they didn't lose money on their accounts, but there were ways and strategies to make sure that as the client was taking distributions, they were not going to be affected on the long run, that we had to have a plan in place to know that this is just one of many situations we're going to go through, but we're going to still have the results that we want. And communicating that to the clients helped them with that anxiety that they were feeling from listening to the news. We cannot tell them don't watch the news. We cannot tell them don't look at your accounts, but we can explain our process and our steps to continue to move forward despite what was happening. So that was situation one. Situation two, we were still working with some of our clients' changes with the Secure Act that was enacted in December 2019. So we were in the middle of that, looking into our clients' estate planning, what needs to be changed, what do we need to be doing. Then all of this happens, and that just made it more important to know that all of our clients had all their beneficiaries in place. We reached out to every single one of our beneficiaries with permission of our clients, just to let them know, hey, because of your grandma or grandpa or mother or however, we were asked to give you a courtesy call and let you know you are a beneficiary in this account. There are certain steps, God forbid anything happens. That made our clients feel so good to know that if anything was to happen to any one of them, their beneficiaries knew who I was, knew who my team was, and what are we ready to do on any event. So that was situational, based on laws that changed regarding estate planning. And lastly, but not least important, tax management. We do a lot of tax management for all of our clients. So the Secure Act and the CARES Act brought in the market downturn, brought great strategies for our clients. So throughout the worst in the down market, we were processing Roth conversions like there is no tomorrow. We contacted every single one of our clients, let them know where this strategy fit in our long-term plan, and we were so busy building all of these tax management strategies in our clients' portfolios that was the situation that helped us. So that's why I said, divide your clients by situation, who is the most affected, and stay in front of them without even thinking about how much this was going to benefit our business. We were doing this to keep the promises to our current business, but we have been getting so many referrals because of this. And the conversations that my clients have with their friends go like this: well, did you do a conversion when the market was down? And when their friends go like, what do you mean? So we've been getting a ton of referrals just by being diligent and by using the tactics intentionally, structured, and getting the team involved without us or without me trying to do it all. Everyone in my team has a piece to it.
Awesome, fantastic. So I want to make sure we remind everybody to please put your questions for these amazing panelists in the chat. We're about to go to our Q&A portion after this closing question for our panel. I'll be asking all of you, what are your top 3 things that I can do this week to help with business development, advertising, and retention? 2 minutes for each of you. Michelle, you go first.
Would you repeat the question, my friend?
Yes, my friend. What are your top 3 things that I can do this week to help with business development, advertising, and retention?
I would say, number one, whether you are a staff of just yourself, if you're just yourself, look in the mirror and do this. If you have other people working with you, be very intentional with those people and let them know that you do have a strategy and that you're there for them. I think the biggest investment we need to make is in our people. So whether that's one person or 100 people, we're very, very proud of the fact that we have kept everybody working and we have kept all of their benefits, and we will continue to fight to do that. So number one, take care of your staff. Number two, keep your commitments with the business that you do have. If you don't have any business right now because of your service isn't something that is currently open, use one of the tactics that we've talked about. Reach out to people. Don't be afraid to look in your contact list and call that first person or text that first person. And number three, I would seriously say to write down the things that you have gratitude for. I'm a big believer that we reap what we sow. I know that sounds dramatic, and I don't mean to be dramatic, but I intentionally every single day think of all the things that I'm grateful for, even on my worst day. And sometimes I'm grateful for having a worse day. And I believe that gives me another day, and it gives me the promise of looking forward to another day. And sometimes that's all we can do as business owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Adam, you have some knowledge for us on this question?
I do. I'm going to circle back a little bit on what I touched on before. Number one, start thinking about video, and try not to get overwhelmed, but think about ways you can tell your own story, maybe a unique angle on your product or service, something like that in under 60 seconds. Okay, if you can imagine you or someone else talking about what it is you want to say for under 60 seconds, then you're not going past people's attention spans, and you're telling your story succinctly but effectively. So start with thinking more about video. And again, back to email. If you want to get strategic on it, one thing you can do right away is make sure that your website has a newsletter sign up field, really easy to access and really easy to use for customers. Okay, I don't care if you don't have a MailChimp account, or if you don't have a Constant Contact account, even if they don't go anywhere except for into the back end of your site somewhere, make a field where you can at least start collecting email addresses, because when you're ready to use them for lots of different purposes that we can talk about personally, they'll be there for you. Okay, email. Mobile is number three. Start thinking about how the world today is heavily mobile compared to just a couple years ago. Each year, way more search traffic and way more social media usage happens on mobile devices than the previous year. Okay, so go to your website and look at it on your iPhone and see what it actually looks like. Is it a good mobile experience or not? So go and do an assessment, make sure that your story is clear and people don't have to do one of these on their phone and like pinch zoom it when they're trying to read your website on their phone, right? Think about the fact that the world is heavily mobile. So video, email, mobile.
Outstanding, Adam. Nick, your turn, sir.
So, just to recap on what I've contributed, aligning your brand with respected brands, endorsements. I think that's a big deal. That sends a message really quickly when you have a well-respected brand that you associate with, and when you have a limited ability to communicate what you stand for and what you mean, that endorsement says a lot. Great communication, both listening, having empathy, dialogue. That's a big deal. And then simplicity of message and user experience. So endorsement, communication, and simplicity.
Outstanding. And Nohemy, wrap us up.
Not much to say. Everything I think has been said, but I could invite you to block time to find your new clarity. And I would be remiss if I don't say this as an ambassador of this beautiful Chamber of Commerce. Make the time and reach out to your fellow members and all of the people that you consider your sources of influence in this Chamber of Commerce. Half an hour every day, 5 people a week, talk to them, listen to what they need, share what you need, and you will see that this is going to result in nothing but wonderful new business, camaraderie built, and friendship. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Naomi. That was perfect. It's about people. That's it. We're in the business of people. So we're at the Q&A portion.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rodney, for being such a good host of us. First, I want to announce that Carlos of Family Care Center won our raffle. So, Carlos, if you could privately message me your mailing address in the chat, then I will get you 2 gift cards to Concept Restaurant. So, first question was the one from Lori in the chat that everyone saw. Adam, would you recommend that we could do educational videos about our particular services? And I wanted to add on a second question to that. What's the good time frame of a video? What's the minimum and the maximum amount of time that somebody would be watching a video?
Sure. Good thought, Emma. So minimum, maximum, I always like to say there's no hard and fast rules on minimum, maximum time, but if you have a process video like this, 1 to 3 minutes, don't go beyond that. If you have a really complicated process, you might be over explaining it a little bit. So try to keep it to a couple minutes, as I like to say, if that's not a vague enough answer for you. But I definitely love the idea of making educational videos. Any business should be trying to do that when they have a unique angle. And if you don't have a unique angle, then you might have a different problem. But looking at your site, Lori, it looks like you do have a unique process to customer service for sure. And even your product is a little bit different, and the way you approach it is a little bit different. So I would certainly recommend making videos that are no more than a couple of minutes, that are kind of effectively and succinctly explaining your customer service angle and how your product is different and better in video. So good thinking on that for sure, absolutely.
Thanks, Adam. The next question is for Naomi. How did you go about creating your sales strategy initially? Did you use a consultant, or how did you plan that?
Are we talking about the strategy as reaching out to my clients on the 3 levels of situation?
Yeah, just when you were talking about sales strategy in one of the beginning questions, how did you determine initially what your sales strategy was, and then you communicated that with your team? Where did you come up with that, and how?
Oh, thank you. So I am a process person. I go crazy if I don't know where everything is and what everything needs to be done next. So in order for me to be an effective leader, I knew that when I was adopting new ways of being Naomi Montes and Mont, I had to have my team behind me to make sure that it's going to work for them. So the thing that I did first is I have always worked with a business coach. My first business coach with my first business was my father, and he taught me if you don't know how to run a business, you can never be a business owner. So I have several people that I rely on in my team, about 14, 3 direct employees, some revenue sharing participants, and some other people that I use their service as service providers, like my IT, my accountant. So in talking to all of them, I have to make the decision as a group and say, this is who we are. We all want to keep our lifestyles. We all have one purpose, which is we love what we do, and we're going to take care of our clients. So in talking to them, I share my idea on this is what we need to do. Are we ready? Do we need to add more hours to some of the employees? Do we need a different technology? Do we need to hire a small temp person to build all the gifts for our team? That kind of stuff. So I didn't go on this alone. I checked with my business coach. I have 3 people in my life that are amazing friends. They are all from the Chamber of Commerce that I met when I moved to Colorado Springs 8 years ago. And I consult with them and I said, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I feel I can do. And this is what I can afford to do. And I decided to build that strategy together. I made the decision. after I talk to everyone, and I let every employee know, okay, so we discussed this, here's the process that we're going to implement. I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And we just aligned ourselves with the skills that best suited us, and we rocked.
Thank you, Naomi. There's time for one more question, and this question's for Nick. So Nick, you had talked about building good content, creating blogs and things like that on your website and to send to your contacts. Where do you come up with that content? How do you decide that your audience wants to hear certain things? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, great question. As far as how you plan and strategize content, you know, we have a team of the 3 individuals, and I know Adam contributes to this as well. But we have a team of individuals that, you know, we have our standard content, and I think we're a little unique as a sporting, you know, a sports franchise. We have interesting content that we generate every week through the games and game footage, and a big focus for us is our broadcast, so that we can capture and redistribute that content. But outside of the game, outside of the talented players, outside of the skill sets, outside of those things, that great content, a lot of it we look to, you know, the community. What role do we play in the community? What issues are important to the community? How we want to, you know, how do we want to play a role in that? How we want to represent the community? So we look at our position as a company and ask ourselves, what is our role in the community? So, you know, perhaps that can be helpful to the person that's asking that question, so you can kind of broaden out beyond maybe some of the limited scope of your particular content, because sometimes it's difficult, depending on the small business, to generate content that people are interested in. So perhaps take a step back and look at a broader picture of, you know, how does my company fit in the larger community, and how can I make it a better community, like has been said by some of the other panelists.
Perfect. Thank you, Nick. I want to quickly give a plug to our small business roundtable events next week. We have them every month, once a month. Michelle and Naomi are both facilitators on those roundtables. So if you guys that are participating in this meeting today have more questions about these types of things, or strategizing, or just learning from other business owners who are doing things well, or have, you know, issues, come to those roundtable events. We have them once a month. Like I said, they're on our events calendar and they're free for members. Otherwise, I think that wraps it up. Rodney, do you have anything else you want to say to wrap us up?
Hey, thank you all for being here. I think one of the most important things Naomi said was to make sure that we're supporting each other in this chamber. It's a very powerful, influential organization you are a member of. So use it wisely. Use it to help other people. Sow those seeds, and other people will harvest your bounty for you and bring it to you. I know, because I've done it, and you can do it too. So take care of yourselves and each other. Love you.